Hello, my name is Mr. Chris, as the students call me, and I am the leader of this program, the Cougars Den Minecraft program. The reason we wanted to create this program is we wanted to give the students an outlet, a way that they could hang out with friends and work on in an educational type setting, but in a different light. With this program, I wanted to have more ties towards like the social emotional side of things, and I wanted the students to have fun and be able to be themselves. And I think this reflects really well in the projects that we were able to work on. So the three major projects we did were roller coasters, hedge mazes, and pixel art, or the creation of 3D art. And my goal with this is to find a fun way for students to take things from real life, so a real life roller coaster, and translate them into a 3D world and engage with these in a way that they wouldn't be able to in real life. And I think the projects had a great overall sense of progress, seeing the students work and think outside the box. Each one had its own challenges and their own requirements. The roller coasters, we wanted to have them stay in a realistic way, and I wanted the students to think of what kind of physics go behind creating a roller coaster. In Minecraft being a 3D world, you can do things where you can have falls of hundreds of feet, but I wanted the students to really think of how could they keep their passengers safe and keep those constraints in mind while making their projects. The other project that really made the students think outside the box was the pixel art and the statues. Having to take something that is normally flat and drawn on a paper and then translate it into a 3D world is really hard, and you have to think abstractly about it. And the students did an amazing job creating these, and I couldn't be more proud of them. Now I'd like you to see the projects and all the hard work the students have worked on. I hope you enjoy it. We had a blast making it. Thank you.
I am Austin.
I'm Thomas.
And we are the Puckett Brothers. This is our roller coaster. This winding road was Thomas's idea. You start out in the jungle biome, and then you teleport through, and you go into the Crimson, and then the Warped, and then the Soul Sand Valley, and then you go through the different biomes. You got Acacia and Oak. There wasn't really a reason for starting out with the jungle. We just thought we should just do our different biomes, but spread them out. So we started with the jungle for no apparent reason. And then as you continue along, you can see there's one vine that smacks you in the face while you come up. And then you go through the portal here. We added in the new crying obsidian to, liven it up a little. And then as you continue on, you've got the Crimson biome, which is also part of the new Nether update. We've got the fire, and the little fungus. And then we have the Warped biome with more fire and the Warped fungus. And then as you continue on, you get into this Soul Sand Valley. It's got the blue fire and a stream of lava. And we've got basalt to make it look a little bit more interesting. Our original plan was to do the Nether, and I think it was my idea, right? You were like, yeah. So we started out with the Nether, and then we added in the trees and stuff because it just looked boring. We had our own jobs, right? So he was doing the platforms and the fences, while I was doing the trees and stuff.
I was in charge of the scaffolding at the underneath the tracks, and Austin was in charge of the railings that you drive on.
Hello, my name is Hannah, and Phanpy is my favorite Pokemon, also mostly because it's an elephant, and I love elephants, which is why I decided to make Phanpy with a bunch of hearts. So I did search up about pixel art fanfics. And I etched it out on a piece of graph paper and went off of that. And then behind my fanfic, I made another one. It's just a really small one. Just another small little Pokemon. This is Espeon. I decided to make Espeon because I wasn't doing anything else and just searched up a pixel art and went with it. Making fanfic probably took maybe like 30 to 45 minutes. But that's with like planning on a piece of paper and stuff. Without that, it'd probably take like an hour. Pixel art is probably one of my favorite things to do in Minecraft. Which is why this is probably my favorite project. I've made just like, usually I just do pictures of Pokemon and stuff like that, or hearts.
This idea, I went on the internet and I just searched like Yoda pixel art and I found this. And so I decided to do that. This was not my idea. This was totally original right here. Yes. And then this is a hacky. It's a hacky sack. You know, like the Bad Lip Reading song. It's like, then I have these signs. Got hit in the neck with a hacky sack. Where'd it come from? You know, it's about to get hit by a hacky sack. And to plan it out, it took about maybe 10 minutes. You know, it was just a simple picture here. And I was like, should I make it bigger? I didn't make it bigger because I would have to do like the proportions and stuff. So I just made it like what I saw in the picture. And then the tree, I was like, maybe I should just make something else to make it look better instead of just having plain old Yoda sitting there. I just added these green things like for the vines and stuff. Make it like look like the vines are hanging over it. And yeah.
For Captain Mew here, I saw a sprite for Mew, so I kind of used that as a reference. But I made it a shiny Mew instead of regular Mew. And then I accidentally made his eyes closed. It wasn't an accident, but when I saw that, I noticed that his left eye was it kind of looked like an eye patch. So I was like, hold on, maybe I should use that. So I made an eye patch on his left eye. And then I was like, there should be something else for a pirate, shouldn't there? So I made the hook, and then Captain Mew was made. I usually don't have much of a plan when I do stuff, so I just went with it.
What I started out with was, just some regular old maze paths, and I made one path that took you around the entire perimeter, and it just led you to nowhere, And then, you'd loop back and you'd be like, oh no, where do I go? And, there's all these random turns, like this part over here. And then this center part, I just didn't have anything to put in the middle, so I just put this here. It's more just something to look at because there's no way to get to it. I made one maze a couple weeks ago when I went over to my uncle's house. I played Minecraft the entire time, and I made a little hedge maze, and I was like, wow, it looks so good, but it was way smaller than this, so it took like 5 minutes. And then a couple weeks later, Mr. Chris said we were doing hedge mazes, and I was like, wow, I already made one a couple days ago.
In my years of Minecraft, I have realized that if you're trying to make something sporadic, you should probably not know what you're going to do. So while I was making my maze, I didn't know where my maze was going to end. I didn't even make a path. I just went with it, and eventually I found the exit. So I don't really know the way out. If you make it to this point, then you'll find the dead-end koi pond with the willow tree and the koi pond fishies. And then eventually, you can find your way to the oak tree, the big oak tree, with honeybees and some more lanterns. And it's pretty. This chest has bottles to retrieve the honey from the bee hive. Eventually, you can probably find your way to this nice little mushroom, big mushroom. I mean, it's got a jack-o'-lantern, some more mushrooms, and spider webs, and some lights around. So, it's pretty nice. And then once you make it to the end, there's some fireworks.
Woo!
I've built a bunch of koi ponds for my survival worlds. I like building the custom trees.
So when I made my maze, I knew I wanted to add some underwater parts, like all the way over here, where it's just an underwater cavern. It'll lead to a different part of the maze to make it even more confusing. From here, it then gets even more confusing and you can easily turn yourself around. So the way I made my maze is after I made a few of the water parts going in different directions, I then began to connect them all together, having only one way to get out, which is all the way over here. And if you don't pay attention, you might not be able to see it. All I knew is that I wanted underwater places, and that was about it. I didn't really have any planning for the maze. The only plan I really did have was to make it as confusing and intricate as possible.
We had to make a statue, essentially. So what I did was I took my own spin on Yoda and infused him with Snorlax from Pokemon. And I made Yolax. I looked up Yoda statue because I have a small theme of Yoda, like the pixel art. And so I was like, man, that looks interesting. I started with the body and I made the frame for it, and then I filled it in with the blocks, and then I made his tiny arms, make it look better. I just figured because, he's already pretty derpy, I just decided to make his eyes derpy too.
I built this spider over here. I started out with the back part of him, this part right here. I was like, maybe a Black Widow when I started planning out for this. And then, so I went with the Black Widow. And then I worked it out, and then this monstrosity was created. So I looked at a picture of a Black Widow, and I found that its back legs here are a bit shorter than these other legs. And usually the legs that aren't fully in the front are a bit longer and more straight. And then I added some slabs around the place to make them more textured, and then added some spider webs, because why not? I don't think his name is Eek. I'm not positive. He kind of chooses his own fate.
This is Roar the Ender Dragon. I just looked up a picture of an ender dragon and I just went off of there and hoped it looked right. And then I added purple because I just wanted to. I just started with the legs. That was just the main part. The hardest part was probably building the body because it's all black and you can't really see where some of the things are going. So you just have to put them down and assume that it looks right by going to the side and looking to see if anything looks wrong. My favorite part to build was probably the wings. So this I had just built while you were interviewing the puckets. It is 3 levels. This level I think I'm just gonna end up using for storage and stuff. And then there is a balcony behind you. So then the next level, this level is for enchanting stuff or any mystical things you find. And then the third level and the biggest level, this is more like the personal level where you have a table out here. Over here is just a my person's bedroom, and then over here is food. The bird incident, that was a complete accident, I promise. So what happened is I was going to go naturally where I grew a birch tree with bone meal, and I just go off of that, but it wasn't tall enough. So usually what I do if that doesn't work is I get a flint and steel and light it on fire. So I didn't have any of my birds sit. So while I was moving around the tree that was on fire, they all caught fire. I promise you it was an accident. I completely forgot, and I don't even know where my bird army is right now. Oh goodness.
So I was watching this YouTuber, and he made his house out of mushrooms. So I was inspired by that, and I just did this. He used one mushroom, but I made each room a mushroom. And I only added like 2 interiors. Like one of them is the TV room over here. It's got a TV and some chairs. The fire pit.
So over here in this tent, I didn't do much, but Mr. O, I think he said that we should do like an interior of one of these houses. So I made an interior for this little house over here. I just put in some carpet and a bed. It's an end rod. I don't know. It does glow up the place.
What did you guys think of the program overall?
I thought it was very, very good because it was like, you know, a break from all the other stuff, and you just get to build.
Usually when I'm building, I don't have much of an idea of what to build, but when I have someone telling me what to build, it's much easier to figure it out as I go. I think the roller coaster was pretty fun to build because we built it together, and that was fun. Pretty good.
I thought it was really fun. I definitely did like when all of us got to work together on our final kind of project. I do like doing pixel art. That's all, in my opinion, that's the thing that I would probably do the most if I'd had to choose something to do.
I'd just like to add in that the boys did a fantastic job. I loved seeing all their work come together, and especially some of the more intricate things, like the giant spider is amazing. It's out of this world. And then Yolax made me laugh my head off when I realized what it was. It took me a minute, but like I said, I'm so glad the boys enjoyed it, and they did a great job.
It was great. Thank you, Mr. Chris.
Absolutely. Hannah was a lot of fun to work with. Like with the boys, I loved seeing her creativity. The Fanfy project was one of my favorite. Just seeing it come to life, I knew she loved elephants, but then seeing her take, a fantastical elephant and bringing it to life in the game was really cool. And then adding her own touches with the hearts. Her maze absolutely stumped me. She was cackling as I was trying to find my way. In a little story, I was going through it for the first time to help her out, and I ended up turning myself around and found myself back to the entrance.
The sad thing is we're going the right way for a lot of the time.
So it's absolutely a blast, and I'm so glad she was able to be here with us. Like I said earlier, I want to thank the students for joining. They really helped me make this an amazing program. A lot of it was trying to figure things on the go and find out what people would enjoy. And they were so invested and put so much passion into every project that I don't think it would have nearly been as fun if they hadn't been so into it. So thank you guys, and I really hope we can keep doing this program. For people that want to get involved in Cougars Den, the main way to get a hold of us is through Jim, our boss, Jim Austrout. He has a email address, jaustrout@collaborative.com. We also have a Facebook page where we frequently share our projects and other things that we're working on, as well as our own website, which we've been fleshing out a huge amount over the summer, and we encourage people to go see and keep up to date with what we're working on.